How's it going, everybody? My name is JustJarrod, but you can just call me Jared, and welcome to a very important Destiny 2 video. If you are an aspiring Destiny player, a Destiny veteran, or a curious guardian interested in what has changed with Destiny since you've been away, this video will explain everything that Bungie is doing to better the future of Destiny. From adding a new free-to-play entry point to the game, to enabling cross-save so new players and veteran guardians can play wherever their friends are. Bungie is self-publishing now, completely free of Activision. They are now the only people who get to decide what the future of Destiny looks like. Destiny's destiny is solely in Bungie's hands, and their first order of business is to break down some barriers. Destiny has always been a tough sell. If you didn't start playing Destiny when it first launched in 2014, and you tried to jump into it after a few expansions were out, or you tried to get your friends to jump into it, it probably was very tough, or it never happened. The reason was, and still is with Destiny 2, because of its pay model or expansion model. To be able to play with your friends in Destiny, you had to own every piece of content that was available. Not only did you have to buy the base game, but you had to play catch-up and purchase every single expansion to get access to the latest activities, campaign missions, side quests, and gear. Let's say you had no interest in one of the expansions. Too bad. Even if you weren't planning on playing a certain expansion, you had to own all previous ones to get the new one. That price stacks up. Base game being $60, maybe you could find a $40 deal, $20 for each expansion, $40 for a large expansion. If you wanted to play Destiny 1's The Taken King expansion, arguably the best content drop for Destiny ever, you were looking at somewhere around $140. Same with Destiny 2. Base game $60, first two expansions, Curse of Osiris and Warmind, were each $20, then Forsaken, my personal favorite expansion ever, was $40. And if you wanted to jump into Forsaken with your pals, because around its release the game was getting so much good praise for how well Bungie was able to turn around the game and make it Destiny again, guess what? You still had to pay about $140 to get there. That's not a good model. It never was, and it's the main reason why I personally could never get any of my friends into the game, because it became a conversation about how much money they'd have to spend, rather than the conversation of, hey, this game is fun, this is why, try it out. Which is how it should be. And starting on September 17th, thanks to Bungie now self-publishing, that is exactly how it will be. Bungie is changing how things work regarding Destiny's add-on content. If you haven't played Destiny since before Forsaken, you might not know that they've already gone through a shift in how they deliver content to the game. In Destiny 1, they had the generic expansion model. First two expansions were moderate in size and cost $20 each, then the third expansion was a lot larger and cost double that. Same model for Destiny 2 until Forsaken launched. Once Forsaken released, Bungie and Activision introduced a new business model with the goal being to deliver a much more steady stream of new content about every week versus releasing large expansions every couple of months, which would inevitably make the months in between expansions very dry, which has happened almost every time in Destiny's lifespan. This new drip feed content model was called the Annual Pass. The Annual Pass was $40 and was broken down into 3 seasons, each season lasting about 3 months. Each season had a different theme with new activities, new quests, new locations, new characters, new loot, new exotics, new secrets, and new sandbox changes. All of which steadily dropped each week within the respective season's 3-month period. So instead of spending $80 on 3 expansions over the course of a Destiny year, you only had to spend $40 on the Annual Pass for a year's worth of new stuff. Some people weren't a fan of this change, and some were. Bungie have always tried to make Destiny a hobby, something you can come back to in a couple days, and there would be something new waiting for you to do. A new exotic weapon for you to chase, a new lore-driven story to uncover, a new mystery to solve. That was the reasoning behind the Annual Pass and what it aimed to do. And although I wasn't a fan of it at first, now almost a year later, we're in the last season of that annual pass, the Season of Opulence, and now I think Bungie succeeded in bringing back the hobby of Destiny via the annual pass, and I think most players would agree. The annual pass didn't come without its issues though, the main one being how pigeonholed each season could seem. You had to pay $40 for the annual pass, one price for 3 seasons, and if you ended up not liking one of those seasons, then you just had to sit and wait for the next one, even though you did in fact pay for it. It would have been different if Bungie's annual pass roadmap was more clear in letting players know what was coming in the seasons, but they weren't, so once the second season rolled around and it was almost 100% focused on Destiny's PvPvE mode Gambit, some players, like myself and my friends, fell off Destiny for the 3 months of that season. It just wasn't something we were interested in, and that sucked. That being said, the current season, the Season of Opulence, is easily the best season of the 3. It added a ton to the endgame with a new mode called the Menagerie, a mode that blended what players love about strikes and raids together in one singular mode, and gave players the ability to farm certain gear and roles. Season of Opulence also introduced a lot of really cool exotic questlines, bringing 2 popular Destiny 1 exotics back into Destiny 2 with the Truth Rocket Launcher and the Bad Juju Pulse Rifle. Not to mention the Solstice of Heroes event, which just started this week. The Season of Opulence has really shown how much potential the Destiny seasonal model has, and if Bungie can keep this momentum going into Year 3, Destiny is going to be at an amazing place in its life cycle, and with the player base steadily growing once again, it is only going to get bigger and better from here. What is good is that all of the negative aspects of the annual pass system is changing for the better. After September 17th, with the release of Destiny's next expansion, Shadowkeep, the annual pass business model will be retired, but the seasons in Destiny are remaining, and you will be able to purchase individual season passes a la carte. You won't have to own every single season. If Season 9 tickles your fancy but you didn't purchase Season 8, no worries, you don't need to. Every single content drop for Destiny starting on September 17th will be standalone content drops, whether it's a large expansion or a season. You will no longer have to own all the past expansions to play the one you want, and you will not have to buy a certain season if you don't like the content that is coming along with it. The next big title update for Destiny is Shadowkeep. It's Bungie's first ever standalone content drop, and it will not require you to own any other previous expansions or seasons. Shadowkeep is $35 and comes with a season pass for the first season of Shadowkeep, the Season of the Undying. You can also purchase the digital deluxe edition of Shadowkeep for $60, and that comes with some exclusive items and 4 season passes. That's 12 months of post-launch content plus the Shadowkeep expansion for only $60. Much more affordable than it has ever been. Bungie is breaking down the barriers, and this is a very, very important first step. But there's a second barrier that needs to be broken, and Bungie is winding up to smash right through that one too. If you were to buy Destiny 2 Forsaken right now, you'd have a hell of a lot of grinding to do. A hell of a lot of probably playing alone through campaign missions, especially if you hadn't played the 2 expansions before Forsaken. It's essentially a year's worth of content that you have to go through. It's a lot. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It can be very overwhelming for new players. It can also be very frustrating to have to grind for 40 plus hours so you can catch up to where your friends are. It can also be very overwhelming for returning players, and here's why. Destiny is an always changing game. Systems don't work and have to be changed or altered. Bounties are changed. The way you level up is changed. How you get better gear is changed. The sandbox is changed. Destiny evolves very quickly. Bungie is always introducing better ways to do something, or easier ways to implement certain mechanics, or adapting mechanics to better suit what players want. There's been an immense amount of changes since the launch of Destiny 2. It's a completely different experience, and just jumping into the game after being away from it for so long, or even never playing Destiny, can be very stressful and confusing. I'm here to tell you that no longer will this be an issue, because alongside Destiny's next expansion, Shadowkeep, Bungie is releasing a new free-to-play version of Destiny 2 called Destiny 2 New Light. Destiny 2 New Light includes the first 2 Destiny DLCs, Curse of Osiris and Warmind, as well as a new entry point to the game exclusive to New Light. In New Light, you'll start the game off in the Cosmodrome, the exact same place veteran Guardians first started their journey back in the original Destiny. You'll play through the iconic first mission, then you'll be sent to Destiny 2's Tower, which is the main hub space if you happen to not be familiar with Destiny. Once there, the entire game is open to you. You aren't forced to run through the campaign missions of the previous DLC. You have access to every single planet and location in the game, including those of expansions you don't own. Starting on September 17th, when Shadowkeep and New Light launch, all planets and new locations will be available to patrol no matter if you own the associated expansion or not. Destiny 2 New Light lets you play the entire base game, the first 2 expansions, and everything that came during the first year of Destiny 2, along with giving you access to every single location. The Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City were locations added with the Forsaken expansion. You won't need the Forsaken expansion to patrol those zones. The Moon will be added with the Shadowkeep expansion. You won't need to purchase the Shadowkeep expansion to patrol the Moon. This way, no matter where your friends are, you can still play with them. Not only that, New Light gives all players access to the first raid, the Leviathan, and its 2 raid layers. You get access to the new PvPvE mode Gambit and its newer version Gambit Prime, as well as every Gambit map. Every PvP Crucible game mode, including competitive, and every Crucible map is also available to you in New Light. The Strike playlist and every strike is there for you as well. You'll also be able to acquire the revamped gear that's being added with Shadowkeep as the Armor 2.0 system, a system that's aimed to bring, for the first time ever, the possibility of actual character builds to Destiny. And you get all of this for free with New Light. The point of entry is being completely opened up for new and returning players. As soon as you get to the tower in New Light, you'll be able to join up with your friends. Bungie wants to remove that long and arduous 40+ hour solo grind from the game and get you to the end game as quickly as possible. Get you playing with your friends as quickly as possible because that's where Destiny shines, in its co-op play. Bungie is finally embracing the end game as the game now. It's where the bulk of the game is, where the bulk of the progression is, where you'll have the most fun, and where you'll have the most amount of activities to play. But don't worry, you can still go off and do the campaign missions and things like that. Bungie isn't taking away those experiences or locking them off, obviously. They're simply giving you the choice of what you want to do. They're not pushing you in any one direction anymore, and that's a game changer, especially if you are a returning player. With New Light, you'll be able to come back to Destiny and just do what you want to do and be able to do those things with your friends for free. Now, you might be asking, what's the point in buying the Forsaken and Shadowkeep expansions if with New Light I can go to the locations those expansions added for free? Well, as advertised, Destiny 2 New Light is at its core an entry point to Destiny 2. Even more so, it's an entry point to Destiny 2 Year 2 and beyond. Bungie is allowing you access to the expansion locations so you can get a taste of what the expansions offer. You'll be able to travel to the locations and explore them, yes, but if you want to do the Forsaken or Shadowkeep campaign, then you'll have to buy said expansion. There's a few specifics that haven't yet been detailed by Bungie in regards to what New Light players will exactly have access to when it comes to certain exotic questlines and other events that were added to the game via the seasons of the Forsaken Annual Pass that we spoke about earlier. An exotic hand cannon called Malfeasance was added during the Annual Pass. To acquire it, you need to play Gambit, but now that Gambit is available for free for New Light, will New Light players be able to acquire Malfeasance even if they don't purchase the Annual Pass, which included the quest for it? There's a few of these instances that kind of get confusing, but Bungie will give out specifics closer to the launch of New Light to let players know exactly what you will need to own to be able to do and acquire certain quests and gear. We do know that some select Annual Pass content will be available to New Light players, we just don't know what content that is exactly yet. For the most part, to be able to earn certain exotics or to be able to play certain campaigns, you'll have to pay for the expansion or the season that those exotics or campaigns belong to. But you'll never have to own a specific expansion or a season to be able to own a specific expansion or a season. Everything is now considered standalone. You can get Destiny 2 New Light for free, then buy Shadowkeep and skip the Forsaken expansion altogether if you want. This is the future of Destiny. Bungie has stated that there will still be expansions to Destiny 2 after Shadowkeep. They aren't just going to cease making expansions, they'll just be standalone from now on. And every 3 months there will be a new individually purchasable season that drip feeds smaller portions of content every week or so. You no longer have to buy everything anymore, you'll be able to just buy what you want to buy, what interests you, what you want to play. After the Activision-Bungie split, Bungie is starting off strong as their own publisher. They want to break down the barriers that Destiny has always had since 2014. They want new players to jump into the world of Destiny as easily as possible. They want you to be able to play with your friends no matter what. They want the entry point to Destiny to be wide open, so you don't have to stress about the long and tedious grind to catch up to where your friends are. They want the endgame to be the game, and to get players to that content as quickly as possible. They want more people to play Destiny, and I think this is the perfect way to do it. Breaking down barriers one after another. With the introduction of Destiny 2 New Light, new Guardians will be able to enter the world of Destiny easier than ever and join up with their friends. With the introduction of their new Season Pass and expansion a la carte post-launch model, you can now pick and choose the content you wish to pay for without having to purchase something you don't want just because it's required for something you do want. With the introduction of cross-save, which we'll talk about more in a separate video, you're going to be able to play on whatever platform your friends are on simply by moving your character over to where you want to play. New Light, the standalone content model, and cross-save are an exponentially huge step in the right direction for Destiny. Bungie has taken control of their game, and the future of Destiny is looking brighter than ever. This is the beginning of something truly great, a very important upgrade to an already stellar 5-year journey that many Destiny players have been a part of. This is Bungie's plan for a better Destiny experience, and I cannot wait. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them as best as I can. More videos will be out soon detailing everything you need to know about cross-save and the possibility of cross-platform play, as well as videos breaking down all of the new loot we'll be able to earn in the Destiny Shadowkeep expansion, so stay tuned for those. I'll leave a few links down in the description if you want to read more on Destiny 2 New Light and what it offers, as well as the recent Bungie Vidocs where you can hear directly from Bungie on how they are changing and shaping the future of Destiny. My name has been JustJarrod, your one-stop shop for legendary loot news and info, no grind or limbs required. Like the video if you are excited for what the future holds for Destiny, and subscribe if you are a Hunter main, which I mean, come on, it's the only real option. Until next time, happy looting.